Hi Letterboxd, it's me, Matt Lynch, the man you love to hate, the villain of Letterboxd. Letterboxd handle, Colonel Mortimer.
Hi, I'm Kevin Clark. I don't work at Scarecrow anymore, but I did for 20 years of my life. And now I'm just here. I happen to be here right now hanging around.
My name is Meliki. I do social media and development stuff for Scarecrow. My Letterboxd handle is Meliki.
Hi, my name's Megan. My Letterboxd is popcorn yogurt, and I've been here at Scarecrow for about 2 years now.
Kevin Clark's still here. My Letterboxd handle is Kevlar X.
I've worked here for 21 years, and I'm going to tell you about some of the movies that I've discovered in that over 2 decade plus time in the trenches, the video store trenches, if you will. The first one is in our France section right here. It's called Fear Over the City. It's directed by Henri Vernoux. It stars Jean-Paul Belmondo as a cop who plays by his own rules. He's fighting a serial killer with a glass eye, so you get all these cool split screen shots with the guy's glass eye. It's crazy, you gotta see it. One of the most bonkers French gangster films of the 70s, and if you know anything about Belmondo, you know he did his own stunts. It's very cool stuff. He's the original Tom Cruise.
My first pick is Lords of the Gourd, which is a PBS documentary directed by Mark Lewis. This one is very fun because it's about people growing giant pumpkins for a pumpkin growing competition. Right now it is in the Halloween section because it's in my Halloween staff picks, but normally it would be in the documentary room.
Up first is one of my favorite indie movies of all time. It's Last Night at the Alamo from the great director Eagle Pennell. He only really made like 2 features altogether. He was working on another one. I think there was a third one that was done, but it never quite got finished or released because the dude died of alcoholism. Great movie about this bar that's closing down called the Alamo, and just sort of the sad guys who, don't want that to happen.
My first discovery that I made that I really loved was Amanda and the Alien. When I first got it, I was just like, this was made for me. I don't often have that feeling, but I was just watching this movie, I was like, oh my God, like this movie hits all of my things. One of the producers of this is a regular at Scarecrow, and I have my own personal copy, and I'm waiting for him to come in so he can sign it because I'm a freak like that.
All right, here we are in the Italy section, and I've got a movie called Closed Circuit. This movie is nuts. This is kind of like if you crossed magical realism with like Brian De Palma. It's about a murder that takes place in a crowded movie theater during a screening of a Western. And then the cops show up and lock everyone in the movie theater to find out who the killer was. And I promise you the answer is not what you're expecting. And the clips from the movie are from a movie called And for a Roof, a Sky Full of Stars. So you should check that one out too. But definitely see Closed Circuit.
My second pick is also from the documentary room. It is Pumping Iron 2, The Women. And this one I watched before I had seen Pumping Iron because I just cared more about the buff ladies than I do about the men. And there's this big debate over whether or not they should be more feminine to be still considered women if they're in bodybuilding. And it's very frustrating and also really interesting, and just a lot of cool shots of very buff ladies working out.
My next pick is Masaki Yuasa's Mind Game, which is, I think, one of the greatest animated movies of all time. It's a wild, wild movie. Anybody who's fans of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, or any of these sort of, more recent maximalist blasts of energy and exuberance and crazy cinema, if you haven't seen this, you need to check it out. It's awesome.
In the J-horror section now, instead of sci-fi, is my second pick, which is Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell. This movie is so much fun. The reason why I found it was that I was putting stuff away, and then I just saw the name on the spine and I was like, what is that? It was almost totally lost until they found it again a few years ago. It's on a nice crispy Blu-ray now that you can easily get, and it is the Japanese Evil Dead. They are clearly trying to emulate the Evil Dead, and they do such a wonderful job doing it.
Welcome to the land of adventure, excitement, really wild things. I have a really wild thing for you. It's called Fear is the Key. Starts with an insane car chase, and that is only the beginning of the awesomeness that's in store for you. You've also got a young Ian McShane and a young Ben Kingsley and a mysterious submarine. So you got to see Fear is the Key. It'll blow you away.
So my next pick is a movie called Sweet Hostage, about Martin Sheen who kidnaps Linda Blair, and they just live in a cabin together and they kind of fall in love. One of my favorite kidnapping movies. They have absolutely no chemistry at all, which is very good, I think, because he's like 35 and I don't think she's 18 in real life or in this movie. Very ultimately sweet movie that they clearly are trying to like really pulp up with this. He captured a girl, he unleashed a woman, etc. But I loved it a lot.
All right, we're here in the Hong Kong horror section for my next pick, which is The Cat. I've discovered a ton of Hong Kong movies here, and this is maybe my favorite Hong Kong movie from the 90s. It's a wild science fiction, horror, action movie about a cat from space. You'll see here on some of these, it says rental by approval. A lot of titles we have here, like The Cat, are movies that are totally out of print, movies that are like almost impossible to replace, so they require deposits on them, and yeah, that's how we make sure that our vast collection stays intact and vast.
So my third pick is here in the animation room, and it is Violence Voyager. It is made by one person who goes by Ojicha, which is like Cher or Madonna. He only needs one name. And he uses paper dolls to get what he is trying to achieve with animation. But at the same time, it's not like stop motion, so it's like single things that are like moving around like this, but they move enough to where it feels fluid, and it's extremely effective in a way that you wouldn't really expect. I've never seen anything like this in animation.
One of the favorite movies of mine that I've ever found at Scarecrow Video, and it is Scream for Help. Basically, the sleaziest Nancy Drew movie ever made. It's about a young woman, realizing that her burgeoning sexuality is a commodity and people are out to steal it from her at any cost. But also, it's a murder mystery where she thinks her stepdad is trying to murder her mom for their money. This is deeply yucky, very, very funny, and must be seen to be believed. Oh, and it's right here in the murder mystery suspense section.
So my final movie is Russian Bride, which is a movie I just saw randomly one day when I was putting something away in the drama room. I watched the special features on this also. I didn't realize the actress who is playing the Russian bride was actually a Russian bride in real life. I think the director was also a Russian bride. It's a lot of interesting background stuff for this movie that I don't think anyone has heard of or seen. There's not really anything about this that I could find online anywhere, but I was really glad that I discovered it because I never would have found it if I didn't work here and was putting something away one day.
So my fourth pick is the movie Crime Wave by the great John Pays, one of the most unique movies you're ever going to see. Also, I had the pleasure of interviewing this director once, and nicest guy on the planet. So everybody see if you can find Crime Wave. Everybody put out the word about Crime Wave because we need the rights holders of this, whoever they are, to get off their asses and release a Blu-ray 4K of this finally, so we can have this this great piece of cinematic art out into the world at large instead of just, a few cultish freaks like me knowing about it.
My last one is here in the literature room, and it's a little bit different from the other ones. It's the 2009 Wuthering Heights adaptation. This is a PBS masterpiece classic theater, and it's Charlotte Riley and Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy was the reason why I wanted to see it. Because, it's Tom Hardy. I wanted to see what he could bring to it, and he puts his whole everything into this role. And this is where he met Charlotte Riley, and after they did this, they got married and they have children now, and they're still together, and I think that's really sweet. This is a really incredible adaptation of the story, so if you like Wuthering Heights, or you love seeing people be insane, it's really, really good.